All right, welcome back. Sorry for the technical difficulties as we were whittling down to 2 tables, but we are now the final table here, Poker Brat champion or DPT championship here. I am now joined by Chris Hansen of Poker Night in America. Welcome.
Hey, thanks, Brian.
Absolutely. How's it been going?
Well, I'm glad I'm not outside doing this. I'm glad poker is usually an inside sport.
Yes, luckily, because it is ramping up. The weather is out there. So once again, this is final table action. Let's go ahead and introduce your players and get right into it. So in seat 1, we have Don Drummond of Fargo with 1,080,000 in chips. In seat 2, we have Wayne Johnson from Florida, 810,000 in chips. Seat 3, your chip leader, John Harms from Columbus, Nebraska, actually making the trip all the way up here and paying off as he is final tabled right now. Seat 4, Sam Seville from West Fargo, 690,000. He's calling his mom to let him know he's going to be on TV. Jake Blotsky of Fargo, 460,000. In seat 6, Brad Posh from Wahpeton, 1,225,000 in chips. In seat 7, we have Jeremy Schultz of Fargo, 785,000. Seat 8, Dwayne Anderson from Bemidji, Minnesota, 1,010,000 in chips. And rounding off our table, in seat 9, Ashley Halfdahl, 1,635,000 in chips. That's good for second place.
And so blinds right now are 30 and 60 with a 60K ante is where we're getting it started. So as you look at the chip counts, you've got 3 to 4 players that are in that 400 to 800,000 range. And so, when you obviously get to this point, when you have anytime you have 10 big blinds left in front of you, the action is it almost you have to push it. That if you're going to wait for it to come to you, you might run out of chips by the time you can do anything with them. And so it'll be interesting to watch how those shorter stacks play. The only person at this table I'm familiar with is actually John Harms. Him and I over pandemic times played a lot of online tournaments together.
Oh, no kidding.
And we were in the same poker club and played a lot of Poker Stars home games with each other. So
interesting.
It's really funny that he's playing and I walked up to him and I'm like, man, I've watched you play a lot of hands in the last 2 years.
And now you get to watch him live, see if his abilities online transfer over to the Felts, which I'm sure they do. John, no stranger to the poker scene.
And $7,600 for our winner today, $7,640 for the main event winner here. First person who leaves the final table will go home with $680.
Always a learning curve to new players at the table.
Jake Blotsky will fold. We got to see what Jake had there. He was confused. He's like, final table, so we're not playing anymore? Like, no, you made the final table, dude. Jake, you're in. So that's awesome. Jake is the short stack, by the way. Surprising there with 460,000 chips that he did have ace-9, but decided to fold.
We don't need graphics to let us know that now. Jake will just show it to the camera for us.
As long as nobody else saw it. But we do have some action here with ace-10 and king-queen.
And, of course, if any players are watching this, this is on a 15-minute delay, so it will not affect the integrity of the game.
And now over to our chip leader, John Harms, with the 8-5 suited in the big blind. He will call the raise to 145,000, so 3 players will see the flop. Flops ace, king, 10 with a couple of spades. So 2 pair for Jeremy Schultz on that flop. And draw for Ashley Halfdahl.
It's a very live board. So Ashley, even though she has middle pair, has to be a little careful here not to get a little too crazy.
Jeremy bets 225,000. Jeremy started with 789,000 chips in front of him, so he's getting to that point where he's got, roughly a third or so of his chips in play. And everyone's going to fold to that bet. Yeah, because of the texture of that, I know he flopped 2 pair and he would have maybe liked to have extracted some more chips, but at the same time, those 2 spades out there, you do not want anyone to cheaply get to that turn.
I believe of the 2 of 3 tournaments yet this for our Dakota Poker Tour Season 11, Ashley Halfdahl has final tabled 2 of 3 of these tournaments. She did not make it up to poor decisions in Tioga because it's really far away. But Haggis, we were out at Haggis for season-ending DPT Season X for that championship, and then we had our kickoff tournament that same weekend, and Ashley final tabled that one, so she's looking to make a quick jump on the leaderboard at this point.
Final tabling 2 out of 3 events, that will definitely get you going in the right direction.
Yeah, and going to be earning points towards that Player of the Year, which I believe Cody Slusher. Was it Cody? I'm going to have to look that up. It's either Cody or Brandon Dosh who won Player of the Year.
All right, Blotsky folds. Pausch folds. Over to Schultz. He folds. Oh, Dwayne, he already lost once today wearing that Vikings gear. Oh, what an awful day for Vikings fans.
Yeah, I caught...
Maybe the beginning of the end there.
Yeah, Zimmer needs to go. Every game this year has been decided in the last play, and I pretty much chalked it up as a loss. When I saw it was coming down, the Lions had a chance. I'd left for a while, saw the Vikings were up, and the Lions had the ball, so I was like, well, we lost. There's no chance we win.
Ugh. All right, so back to the poker. Dwayne raised to 160,000. Now over to our chip leader in the small blind, John Harms. And John calls. And now 100,000 for Sam to stay in. He will fold his big blind, so we're heads up. Just under 500,000 chips in this pot. And the flop is King, Ace, 4. A couple of clubs there. And Dwayne in a really good spot. That's unlike the last flop. Now you have nothing to be afraid of.
Now you want to try to trap players
Yeah.
because you have a piece of every bit of the draws.
Yeah.
Dwayne's reaching for chips, generally a sign that he's going to bet. Maybe 220.
That's what it is. 220 over to John. And I'm maybe a little surprised that Dwayne actually bet there. As we had stated, you have really nothing to be afraid of. You already have top pair. You had the nut flush draw. If your opponent checks, if they're trapping you, great, because I want to be in that trap. That's a trap I can get out of.
Absolutely. But, you live to fight another day. John maybe not wanting to start off the final table, getting chunked and all of a sudden finding himself in the middle of the pack.
Sure.
If he finds himself getting into an interesting hand. But there we see 23% of the chips on the table belong to John Harms.
And by the way, these chip counts are accurate, hand for hand. And the 60K ante, by the way, is also put in by the big blind, in case you're wondering. the ante is just put in by the big blind every time, so each player doesn't have to put out chips, saves time, a little more efficient. So Jake Blotsky is in the big blind. He is our short stack. And John might be thinking it might be worth it here just to try to eliminate a player to get involved in a hand. And he is raising, hopefully that the small blind doesn't have anything, but as we see, Sam does have something. And he's going to move all in. Jake folds his big blind, and obviously there that was John just trying to make a move, and probably the right move to make, but when you look down at pocket eights, let's go. So now Jake will be in the small blind. Again, he is our short stack, first person eliminated tonight. Wins $680, working towards a $76.40 first place prize tonight.
Yeah, I'd say the weather here in Fargo definitely affected the opportunity for many players from the surrounding area to come and play. Either they could have made it on time, but on the tail end, whenever they got kicked out, might have been driving home in a blizzard, which is never an ideal situation.
Especially to the north of here that I got really crazy with the snow.
I did see some Grand Forks players down here, though. Must have stayed overnight. And here we see Ashley picking up a couple of tens. Just going to raise it up to 160,000. Going to fold over to Jake.
Jake will fold. So Jake made it through the big blind and the small blind, so he's still going to, now he's got some free poker he gets to play for a couple of hands. But Brad Posh here has moved all in with kings.
Oh, wow. Tough situation here for Ashley.
These two sitting almost even in chips.
Tens are strong, but there's still 4 more hands that can beat you pre-flop. You hate to, even if Ashley's been card dead for a while and she finally has pocket tens and finds herself in this situation, human emotion might say, come, let's just play. I want to play. I want to see what happens. But right now, if she decides to call, she'll be living a nightmare with kings versus tens.
And she lets the tens go. We'll see if Brad shows his kings or not. He does not.
That's what he said. You telling on me?
Fun part is I get to see you.
Oh, Ashley. No way. Don't mind it going out the next 15 minutes? Go watch it.
All right, action's on Anderson. He folds. I'm back over to Ashley. And another pocket pair for Ashley. Pocket sevens.
Wait, is Brad still in? What the?
Ashley raises to 160 again, raising 2 hands in a row.
I know.
Over to John. He folds. Now to Sam.
What do you think? Whoa.
You know, if it were you, I'd call any bet and I'd run it down. That's what you always do.
160,000. 160,000.
Jeremy might want to see a flop with pocket threes. Out of the big blind, it's 100,000 more for him to call. Going to start digging a hole and hopefully trying to find at the bottom of that hole a 3 to hit the board. And the flop is 10, Jack, 10.
No help to anyone, but with the tens pairing, it could definitely, we have a chance for chop pot if a couple other cards come out, maybe pairing the board again, just with the lower pocket pairs. But Ashley in a really good position with her pocket sevens over the threes. Of course, they both have 2 pair.
Sure. She bets 180,000. Over to Jeremy, and he found nothing but more dirt at the bottom of that hole as he was digging for a set on the flop. And we are playing 40-minute blinds here tonight. On our way again to a championship take of 76.40. First person to leave goes home with $680. So most of these players in for 300.
I would say so.
Yeah.
It generally, the buy-ins for any of these tournaments are anywhere between 150 and 200 with the option for an add-on for a max of 300. But if you're not coming with the 300, it's pretty standard to use that full buy-in.
I do know that Wayne Johnson in seat 2, who's going to act here after Don Drummond, I conversed with him a little bit before we got started. He was in for the minimum. Did not take the add-on.
It does happen. If you buy in for the minimum and you catch some cards right away and find yourself in top of the leaderboard, there's no need to add on.
Sure.
Necessarily.
So Don made it 160,000 with ace jack, and he gets no action. So we're ending up the calendar year of 2021, but getting going now with the season 11 here in Dakota Poker Tour. More events coming, more events to be added.
Yes.
As obviously as we are going to flip over the calendar here in 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, in between the next Dakota Poker Tour tournament, though, we'll be going down to Vegas. You and I and the production crew, we do have the FPN National Championship, of which anyone playing the DPT is invited to come down, play. You got Friday and Saturday of flights and various games that you can qualify for the main event on Sunday. So if you're looking to play some more poker and maybe try your luck at a bigger prize pool, come on down to Vegas. I believe that's January 7th and 8th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So come on down, all Dakota Poker Tour players, FPN, Bar League players, and family. We're extending it to everyone, basically. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. But so that's coming up 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then the next DPT event will be the Monster Stack in Grand Forks. It'll be January 21st. Friday will be flights. 22nd and 23rd, another 2-day tournament. So just same format as today.
Well, the short stack is all in. Jake Blotsky took a look at ace-8, good enough to push. He's gotten the small blind to fold. Now he's up to Ashley in the big blind. And she will fold, and Jake will very happily take the blinds and antes there. We were the short stack. Even if somebody just drops a chip and you pick it up, and you get one more in the stack. Let's go.
He just hopes it would be a red one. Those are worth 100,000. As we move along into our Next hand, definitely want to thank the bar, the Windbreak. We are at the Windbreak in Fargo. Thank you very much for being the host venue. Very good service and making sure all of our players are well lubed up with alcohol and other drinks.
All right, over to Wayne in seat 2. Looks down at suited ace queen.
My hands are very dirty.
Raised to the standard 160 that seems to be popular here. Everyone folding around. Come to Dwayne. And he folds on the button with Queen Jack. Ashley folds. And now the big blind. 9-10 suited. Good enough for a call from Don. So we're heads up with Don and Wayne. One player with clubs, one player with spades. Here comes a all red flop. Close. Deuce, 4, king. So ace queen still ahead. They check to the turn. Turns a 3 of spades. Still nothing there for either player, so they both check. And now the river is a king, another king on the board. Now Don looks like he's going to make a bet. If I'm Wayne, thinking, well, if he had a king, he'd have been betting that flop. Couple of hearts, would have maybe wanted to move him out of the way. I know it's tough to call with just ace high, but obviously Wayne has the winning hand if he calls. That's one of those things that you have to pay attention to the situation. Like, look at what's going on, and I know they checked very quickly from the flop to the turn to the river, and so you have to look situationally that he would not have wanted anyone to see a free river for sure.
There's not a chance, no.
If you would have had a king, and so we'll see if Wayne can make the right call here. And he does make the right call.
Oh, excellent call.
Hand in the cookie jar. And I guarantee you he was thinking the same thing that we were just talking about, that if he would have had a king, he would have been betting the flop or the turn because he would not want to let someone see a free river.
Yeah, that was great analysis of the hand from Wayne, going back what was the betting line and all the checks and whatnot. If you are a smart poker player, as Wayne Johnson has proven to be, you would pick up on that and understand the situation.
Yep.
Now, with a hand like Queen Jack, we'll go in pre-flop. I guess this is why I'm an amateur at poker and I lose a lot. Is I would play Queen Jack almost all the time. Seems like a good hand to me, right?
Yeah, a raise in front of you, always got to think, okay, a raise coming into you is either going to be a pair or it's going to be a big ace for the most part when you get to this point. And so, yeah, you have to work it through thinking, okay, if it is a big ace, I might share a card with that ace. Or if it's a pocket pair,
Right.
I'm drawing. And,
Yeah.
So it was that situation. I believe it was it Jeremy or Brad that had Queen Jack there and decided to fold.
Yeah, I think it was Jeremy. But yeah, so here we are. Jake, did he fold that Queen Jack as well?
He did. And this is going to be the last hand at this level. We're going to be going up to 40-80 on the next hand.
And the big blind is 100,000. Tim, the ante is 100,000.
some confusion as to what the next blind level is going to be. On the structure sheet, it has said that the next level would be 4080, but the software announced it was going to be 5100.
That's a big jump.
Yeah. 3060, 5100. Let's go. We got to get everyone out of here.
I guess the iPad is getting tired today.
It wants to go home. It wants to go home, too.
No, actually, we have a wonderful cast of characters at this final table, a hodgepodge of people. We have people from out of state, John Harms from Columbus, Nebraska, people from Wahpeton, Florida, Bemidji. So this is certainly going to be an exciting conclusion to the Poker Brat tournament here at the Windbreak in Fargo.
Action is going to start with Sam. He will fold. Over to Jake Blotsky, our current short stack. He looks at King 3 and folds. Now, the unenviable might be Sam Seville, who is sitting just to the right of Jake. So we've seen Jake pick up his cards, look at them. Obviously, you know, if that's how you want to do it, that's great. But if you're the player who's sitting right next to him, and you have a clear view,
yeah,
you have to block that out, right?
If I'm Sam or Brad, I am dumping chips off to Jake to make sure he stays in long enough so I'm heads up with him, and then maybe we can sneak a peek at his cards.
I mean, you want to make the accommodation, obviously, that if a player's having trouble, you know, seeing all the way down to the table to see what his hand is, you want to make sure you do that. But at the same time, you got to think he's doing it every time, and if I would raise and I look over to see what he's, you know. That's a tough spot for Sam, or maybe it's a good spot. I don't know.
It's a super unfortunate situation, but I think we have good moral standings at the table. So if it did come down to it, you know, you wouldn't want to be peeking over if you know you could see a player's hands, and plus other people would start noticing.
Yeah,
like, hey, dude, quit looking at my hand.
Well, as the player, you know, it is your responsibility to protect the hand, but at the same time, yeah, you don't want to be that guy.
Right.
Yeah. More than anything else, you don't want to be that guy. All right, so back to the action here at the table. It was a call and a check on the flop, a bet of 80K, or pre-flop, bet of 80K on the flop. They both checked the turn, and then they both checked the river. And John Harms is going to win with a pair of nines. All right, so now a short stack. Jake Blotsky's going to be first to act. So he's got just over 300,000 in chips in front of him. The blinds are coming. He's going to have to pay the blind and the ante on the very next hand. Unfortunately for him, this hand is not a hand that he wants to play. And the two blinds are going to take up two-thirds of his stack. And so he's going to wait to any random hand's got to be better than 10-4, right?
Yeah.
So,
and any two cards can win.
Sure.
So ideally, though, you'd like to have two.
Something.
Yeah.
Something to work with.
Like a queen jack, even.
All right, so over to Dwayne. Dwayne with 8-7 of clubs. He raises to 175. So again, blinds are now 40 and 80. So just a hair more than a min raise. And that raise will win Dwayne Anderson the hand. I'm going to get Wayne Johnson and Dwayne Anderson. I have a feeling mixed up quite a bit tonight. Here's the updated chip counts. John Harms still our chip leader with 2.4 million. He came to the final table, had 2.7 million in front of him. But nobody has really made a big move up. We haven't seen any major hands that have transpired.
Not really, and everyone's still there.
Yep.
You know, we haven't seen that first knockout. If I was a betting man, you know, usually the person with the least amount of chips at the table would be the first one to go. But here, Brad Posh picking up Big Slick.
Brad makes it 300,000. Jeremy to his left with pocket sixes. Jeremy looks like he's grabbing all the chips, and sure enough, he has. He's moving all in.
I know he's getting down there in chips, but he's just shy of $1 million. He's in the upper middle of the pack at least, but all in with pocket sixes? I don't know if I would have done that. That's an interesting call to me.
Well, what it does is that it's going to take a premium hand to call you. I mean, right? So that's the one thing, is that if you do move all in, it is going to take a really good hand. And if you would find yourself racing or up against, you know, and that raise to 300,000 was more than what the raise before, you know, the standard raise was before.
Oh, right. So Brad, okay.
You know, so I mean, he raised a little bit more than what was the standard leading up to this, and look at that, he got ace king to lay it down. So
really isolating Brad,
yeah,
and
that's what it's all about.
Do you have the cojones to call me?
Exactly. How
Yeah.
good was that raise to 200,000 or to 300,000? And Jake survives the big blind, but now he's in the small blind.
A little bit easier too. That's not 160,000. It's just 40.
But still, you know, at some point you want to say, well, I have chips where I could. He's not scaring anybody, obviously, with what chips he has left for the raise as the short stack. So. All right, Jeremy will play first after winning the last pot. He will fold. Everyone's folding around to Don in seat 1 from right here in Fargo. He's lost a couple 100,000 off of his stack from the start of this table. But with pocket eights, he's going to raise. Raises to 215,000 over to our chip leader, John Harms, with King Queen offsuit. And he calls over to Sam with King 10. And Jake just getting absolutely nothing to work with here, but he makes it through the, he'll get to see a couple more hands for free as the short stack.
And he's going to want to go all in before getting to the big blind.
Next time around, yeah. So heads up with Don and John. The flop is 4, Queen 5. John has taken the lead, and it looks like Don is going to be betting.
Bet is 265,000.
That is around half a stack, and John just moves all in.
Effectively putting Don all in, grabbing a fat stack of reds. He'll call.
So Don is looking for some really thin running cards if he can get it. He doesn't find it on the turn. And doesn't get it on the river. And so Don Drummond came to this final table with just over $1 million in chips and will be the first player eliminated here tonight, leaving the Windbreak with $680,000. Or $680.
680,000 pennies. Wow, yeah. Done. $1 million in chips. Could have coasted by to get a bigger part of that prize pool, but it's just the way poker goes, and sending more chips to our poker, or the chip leader. So John is sitting really comfortably now.
And you know what? If you're that short stack, Jake Blotsky, you just got a $200 bump. The next player 8 going out will make $880. So just like, I mean, you know, that's how it works out sometimes.
It's crazy. That's why you play the hands. 'Cause you never know. The longer you survive, the more you could get paid.
The final table mentally is always fun because there's 2 players that you don't want to be. You don't want to be the first one out, and you don't want to be the last one out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you go out 3rd or 4th, yeah, okay, I'll take that. But if you're the first person out, it's like, oh, I got this far, and then I get eliminated.
Yeah.
Or if you get all the way to heads up, you obviously don't want to lose then either.
No.
You don't want to lose any time, but I always like the 2 people the most who don't want to go out are the first player off the final table and the last player.
Oh, and Sam's going to go all in, ace deuce of diamonds.
And Jake Blotsky has queen jack of diamonds. So let's see what he wants to do here. He's got 2 players to his left. Jake's only got 110,000 behind, so he calls. And so it's going to be heads up, ace deuce versus queen jack. They both share the diamonds.
I think Jake would be really good at Indian poker. You show the other people your cards, and you can't see them. So Jake does not want to see diamonds. Oh, God. There they are.
Well, Sam is still ahead.
But, oh, Jake also flops a straight draw.
Yep. So Jake still with some possibility.
Open-ender. Oh, my gosh.
Look at that. He hits it on the turn. Still needs to fade.
No diamonds.
A diamond on the river. And the river is a deuce. And Jake Blotsky's going to double up. And he's going to have 420,000 chips. Almost to the point of where he started this final table.
But he's don't be mistaken. Jake is definitely still in trouble. He's going to need another few double ups. Yeah, still at the bottom. 5 big blinds, 420,000 in chips. And John Harms sitting comfortably, 3.4 mil. Unfortunately, Sam and Jake at the bottom, both duking it out. If you're anyone, Brad, Wayne, Jeremy, Dwayne, Ashley, John, you're happy to see the small chip stacks battle it out, because that just means more money in your pocket if one knocks the other out.
Right.
And the chips going to the the bottom 2 people exchanging really isn't that big of a deal. It shouldn't be anything to be scared about.
Thanks to those of you who are watching tonight. Saying hi to Brian and Nathan watching tonight.
Jake is all in with those pocket queens. Great hand that you want to see in this position, but you also want callers. And that did not happen. And if you were listening earlier about the next upcoming poker tournament for this production crew is the FPN National Championship. A few more details about that. It is at the Golden Nugget, same as must have been a couple years ago now. Last time we were there in the Grand Ballroom. The Friday and Saturday tournaments consist of winning your buyback in is, I think, in all of those tournaments, is if you make the cut and qualify for the main, what do you call it? The main event.
Yep.
You get your buyback. There's also plenty of mystery bounties and $50,000 in World Series poker packages. It includes 2 main event seat packages. So tons and tons of things to win at the FPN National Championship.
So Sam has moved all in for $540,000 with ace-8. No action so far. Around to Ashley in the big blind.
She says, "You know I got a call."
So queen deuce and ace-8 will go to battle.
I feel like she had worse cards before in the same situation where she could have called an all-in, and now she says why would she have to call?
Well, she was in the big blind.
Oh,
So
there
I
we
mean,
go.
there is quite a bit of chips that are in there. She's already got 100 and the blinds are 40 and she's already got 160,000 in. Flop is 10-10-5, ace-8 still ahead. Deuce on the turn, and now Ashley has taken the lead.
Sam needs an 8 or an ace or 5.
And it's a 7, doesn't get it. Queen deuce going exactly how Ashley saw that going, obviously.
Yeah, she just had to call. Well, congrats to Ashley on winning that pot, and Sam, congratulations on your 8th place finish, winning $880.
All right, so another elimination, and look at that. Jake Blotsky has now made himself at least $1,000.
He's in the 4-digit club.
I love it. Came in as the short stack and has watched 2 players go out ahead of him.
Yeah, you can't sleep on Jake. I mean, there's a reason why he's at the final table.
Sure, you had to get through a bunch of players to get to this point. Also thanks to Billy and Howie that are watching. Someone wondering if it is cold inside the windbreak. You have 2 players with stocking hats on. Well, it is the Rockies, so it's a little chilly everywhere.
Hey, can we vote on that, please? She wants to vote Mark to be the boss of the tournament for a few minutes.
He doesn't even have his fucking zipper.
John Harms will be first to act.
Now playing with 7 players.
Yeah. Floor.
Fair enough. No worries. Yeah. Where are you with your Fargo? Yeah.
And Jeremy with ace-7 of hearts.
Yeah. It's okay if I stand back here?
And that's good enough for a raise. Raise it to 200,000. I believe it was 210. It doesn't look like he's going to get any action. Though Wayne is thinking this over. He is in the
Because he's in the big
he's
blind.
in the big blind. So yeah, he's already got the big blind plays not only the big blind but also the ante. So in this case, he's already got 160,000 in the middle. So it's 130 to call. right, he makes the call. So ace 7 and 3-4. We've seen this flop together. Pot with 540,000 chips in the middle. And here's the flop. It's ace 9 ace, and there's 2 diamonds there. So Jeremy flops trip aces, but Wayne's got that flush draw. They both check the flop.
Jeremy slow playing. Blank on the turn. Wayne's hoping for that diamond.
Yeah, and here's that situation we had earlier that this time he does have it, and he's not going to let him get to the river for free. And a small bet, 175,000. Not even half of the pot, which makes it very enticing for a call.
Wayne going into this hand, pre-flop didn't even seem that confident in his cards because it took
Right.
a little bit longer. You could just kind of see that he knew he had to call because of him being in the big blind. But here we see
Another a 3 comes on the river, and Wayne checks, so he missed his flush. Now Jeremy's going to be betting again. And Wayne will probably take his time and fold.
350,000 was the bet. Yeah, unfortunate for Wayne. Can make the argument too that, yeah, he's in 160,000 and could save himself whatever else he just bet on, called with. So, but it's good odds to and to protect that big blind. You don't want someone bossing you around.
Oh, and so you call there because you've got 9 outs on the river, right? You're not thinking, obviously, you hit the 3 on the river. That doesn't matter. Like, you know that you're up against a big hand when somebody bets like that on the turn. So you just, at that point, hope that the other player also isn't on the diamond draw because now you've got the weak end of the stick.
Yeah. While we're going into our next hand, just our upcoming tournaments, actually, you know what? Less exciting. Actually, more exciting than our upcoming tournaments is we are rolling out a new poker application today to help run tournaments. So everything is it's all online. Eventually, it'll be on the phone, but we are going to give live updates of the tournament. You can see exactly how many players have entered. You can see how many have busted out. And it's just a really cool way for tournament directors, Dana, and all of us and the players, a good experience for them to see, more stats and just see where the tournaments are at. Here we are. We got Jake, 8-4, not a whole lot there.
And now to Brad with ace 10 of spades.
If you would, real quick before, Brad raises to 500,000.
And now to the big blind. Our chip leader, John Harms. And we'll fold. So again, next player leaving goes home with $1,085. The winner tonight goes home with $7,640.
It's a good chunk of change for a weekend of poker.
It's holidays. This makes the nice Christmas gifts.
And just quickly to go back to our new poker app, if you would like to preview the link, it is app.dakotapokerleague.com. You can select the event and see all the updates and results from there. But that is app.dakotapokerleague.com.
In seat 8, Dwayne Anderson with queens. He's got 1.2 million in front of him. And he raises to 200,000. Ashley folds. Over to Wayne. Wayne folds, and I'm guessing John is also going to be folding. Yep. So no actions for the. And now over to Jake. I guess I forgot about him. Sorry, big blind. Jake Plotsky, our short stack. He folds, so hand goes to Dwayne Anderson. Dwayne from Bemidji, Minnesota.
Where the movie Fargo takes place.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Not
Or
Fargo.
is it Brainerd?
I think Brainerd.
Brainerd.
I really thought
Close
he
enough.
was-
They both start with the letter B. They're
How
both
about
in
they didn't get
Minnesota.
penalty?
They both have a bunyan.
True. Exactly. Well, I just recently took a trip down to Texas, and I told people, I met some people from Fargo, and they've seen the movie or the TV show.
Sure.
But I guess not many people know that entire movie. The only part that takes place in Fargo, isn't it the beginning? It's the beginning of the deal that takes place. I believe it was a wife or someone was plotting to kill someone. But the deal went down in Fargo. But the entire rest of the movie takes place in Minnesota.
And interesting enough, that winter, I remember also reading about this, is that we didn't have much snow the winter that they're filming. And so the end scene, when Buscemi is out looking for the money, like how far north they had to go to get like a absolute empty area with a lot of snow.
Just to get snow. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. So, anyway, all right, back to the poker. Jeremy raises to 210 with ace-queen suited. And now our short stack, Jake Blotsky, is considering what to do. Or is he already folded? I guess he already folded. Queen Jack suited. And so our big blind Brad makes the call. And again, Jake with Queen Jack suited. He's now got 250,000 in front of him. Or maybe he did call. I can't see his cards.
Yeah, I think something's messed up on the graphics, but we can clearly see.
Because it would make sense for Brad to call the big blind with 3 players.
Well,
So he
Brad's
must
Brad's 3-betting a bluff here, 7-4 offsuit, gonna challenge Jeremy and Jake, maybe trying to isolate. Well, can't even say you're trying to isolate. You're just trying to steal the blinds and antes at this point. Repping a really big hand. So far, it's worked. Yeah, Jake wasn't even in there.
Okay. Doesn't show it. Just takes the chips.
Wow. Okay, he got a bluff through on Jeremy. That was pretty cool. I guess, you're sitting back here and we're seeing the cards and whatnot. There really isn't. You don't see that many bluffs.
Yeah, that would be considered a pretty big one.
Give it a more. What's up, Wizard?
Dwayne doesn't know this yet. Now he does. He's got 2 10s in his hand.
You don't wear it on.
Getting the hang of it, Jake. You're getting the hang of it.
Then you're hanging low. Down to your knees.
All right, so Dwayne raises to 210 with 10s. Everyone folding to the small blind Brad, 8-7 offsuit. He folds, and now to Jeremy in the big blind, Queen 9 offsuit. That'll get the fold treatment too. So next player eliminated, again, just over $1,000, $1,085. As we continue the Poker Brat deep stack, there's the updated chip counts. Now, anytime you get under 20 big blinds, it's nerve-wracking. Anytime you're under 10 big blinds, it's go time.
Yeah,
Right.
it's time to make a move because there's not much else you can do. You can't really bully anyone around. You need chips in front of you, and you need them fast.
Ashley has added around 500,000 chips to her stack since we got started, and that came most of those from the elimination of Sam Seville, the last player who was knocked out. Now to John Harms, our chip leader, and John looking to get frisky with King 9. And now over to our big blind, Dwayne Anderson. Just 95,000 a call out of the big blind. I'm guessing with a ace and 7 players, probably good enough to see a flop. Not a big raise, obviously, from John, just more of a min raise. But he's going to give it up to the chip leader. John Harms again from Nebraska.
Looking down, so I don't
Coming up to Fargo to come and play in this event.
I'm just looking down to make sure I don't catch your cards yet. There's plenty of them out there.
When I look at mine,
Motel 6 is right down the
So I
road.
just kind of look down, wait till I see the cards.
He won't regret it because he's final tabled in minimum taking home 4 figures, but also maybe regrets the fact that he won't be able to go home until tomorrow. Or whenever the roads clear up.
Action on Brad. King 10. Brad raises to 180. Over to Jeremy. Now to Ashley. Ashley with 9 deuce in the big blind. We'll take the bait. Both these players with over $1 million in chips at the start of this hand. Flop is king high with a couple of clubs. So Brad makes a pair of kings on the flop, furthered his lead.
That's 250,000, and Ashley will quickly fold.
And this time Brad does show the goods. Showed her that he did have a king in his hand. Justin chiming in saying, "Let's go, Ashley." Justin Smith is Ashley fan. Again, this is running on a 15-minute delay. And so by the time you maybe hear something shouted out, it's 15 minutes ago. So you'll hear the comments 15 minutes after you made them. It's space-time continuum.
Yeah.
We're kind of poking some holes in that.
I understand how it's all set up, but that even still confused me, how you said it.
Well, I'll confuse you with a lot of things that I say. I wouldn't pay attention to a lot of the things that I'm going to say tonight.
a room there anyway.
And over to Dwayne Anderson. Bemidji, Minnesota. Dwayne's got ace 7 offsuit on the button.
Dwayne raises to 200,000. Ashley will fold. Her queen 7.
And Wayne folds too, so a couple of hands here with just the blinds being taken down.
8-4's been known to win. 8-4's been known to win. Yeah, but 9-3.
And if you have just recently joined us, you are watching coverage from the Poker Brat Deep Stack Tournament at the Windbreak in Fargo. This is Dakota Poker Tour Season XI. I'm Brian, next to Chris Hansen of Poker Night in America. Welcome again.
Thank you, buddy. Been a couple of months since you and I sat this close to each other.
Yeah, I'd say even long. Has it? I know I ran into you downtown once, so we were this close.
That's true. I'm trying to think of the last event that we did the live stream of was at out in West Fargo.
At the Speedway.
At the Speedway, yeah. Was that I don't even remember when that was. Was that earlier this summer?
That was early summer. Yeah.
Okay.
We took a break for a couple months. Must have been like July or something.
Okay.
Fold around to Jeremy, who's going to look down at a couple of 5s. Not bad, not great starting hand, but pocket pairs have a chance to catch trips. And if you have trips, you are sitting pretty. Here we see Ashley with a couple of 3s now. She's looking to call.
And she does. And now over to Wayne. Queen 10 suited. That might be worth a call out of the small blind, but if he does call, that's going to be over half of his stack. So then logic would say, if you do want to play this hand, you have to get them all in the middle. But you wonder how big of it, what kind of hand the other players are up against. So Wayne just 360,000 chips in front of him. And he is going to move all in.
Yeah, there it is.
So he's all in for his last 400,000. And out of the big blind, our chip leader John Harms, it'll be 320,000 for him to call.
Oh, and then we see John has 7 5s, so if Jeremy does call, he does already have one of his 4 or 2 remaining 5s dead.
We'll be looking for that case 5.
John should most certainly fold, you would think.
Well, you just, the initial raiser is probably the one that you're the most worried about, because the initial raiser made it 210,000. So you're wondering what, like if I call here and then he jams, obviously then he's going to have aces or kings or something. You weren't too worried about Ashley because she just flat called. But it looks like we're going to get 4 players involved here going to the flop. Because Jeremy called, and now Ashley is also calling. So, wow, we're going to have a 1.5 million chip pot.
Wow, here we go. This is... Not even Jake can stay standing during this hand. It's exciting.
Flop is 9, 6, 9 with 2, no hearts.
Jeremy in the lead.
Well, he's in the lead with pocket 5s, but technically still behind. He turns another 9.
Oh, wow.
And so now Jeremy takes a little bit more of control of this because no draws come out on the turn except for the heart draw for John Harms.
Oh, huge move from Ashley here, going all in with her full house front the board.
Everyone looking allergic to this board. And so she's going to get everyone to fold. And so Wayne will be looking for a queen or a 10 on the river.
Ashley's extremely happy Jeremy got out of the way. It's an ace of hearts. Ashley eliminates Wayne Johnson in 7th place. Wow, what's she taking home? Or what is Wayne taking home?
Wayne's taking home $1,085 for his 7th place finish tonight. And he will head back to the Sunshine State of Florida with $1,085. And now the next bump up for 6th place is $1,355. And the player of the night so far, it's Jake Blotsky.
Yeah,
It's just amazing that Jake has been sitting on the short stack since this final table began.
doubled
And-
up once only,
Yeah, right?
and that's all he's needed.
And has worked himself from that $680 level, more than doubling his, or about doubling his money, up to $1,355. And maybe at the other end of this, Ashley with that hand now has taken over the chip lead from John Harms.
Wow, huge hand for Ashley. Incredible.
Pocket threes. All right, on to the next. 40-minute blinds is what we are playing here tonight. John calls out of the small blind over to Bill. Or excuse me, to Jake Blotsky. Jake checks. So we'll see a flop between the blinds. Queen high with 2 hearts.
John flopping a open-ender. It's a pretty strong hand.
He's going to be betting. Bets 100,000. Thank you to Dennis saying nice run, Sam. Sam eliminated a little earlier. Again, we are on a 15-minute delay. But thanks for watching, Dennis. We appreciate it. And everyone else who is checking out tonight's Poker Brat Deep Stack here from the Windbreak.
If you comment, we'll shout you out.
So there's that. All right, back to the action. Brad folds.
I'm trying. Well, it like isn't the same temperature all the time, so it's colder right now. Oh.
All right, and now action's on Jake.
Need a pack of Smellies.
He calls from the small blind. Brad checks the option. So Jake and Brad, the 2 blinds, will see a flop together. Flop has Jack, Ace, Ace, with just 1 diamond there for Jake. Jake's given the diamond check. Like a single guy hitting on a gal at the bar. Got to check for that diamond. Just got to be sure, you know. Nothing wrong with that. The bet is 100,000 on the flop from Brad. And that'll get rid of Jake. So Jake now down to 320,000 in chips. I like it from Jake. The thing is, right, like, his best action has been no action. Like, you know, I was talking to John Harms earlier. I'm like, you know, sometimes when you play poker, it seems like the game just comes to you. Sometimes you have to like work at it and grind and try to get people to fold and try to analyze stuff. Sometimes the game just comes to you. Like when you're playing rags and you flop, you know, a straight against aces or something. Sometimes the game just comes to you, and sometimes you have to work really hard at it. Well, tonight, so far at this final table, I mean, Jake sitting there more or less not really doing anything.
Yeah,
has watched himself climb up the pay ladder.
it's one of those crazy nuances in just how poker works that makes it so interesting at times.
And will drive you absolutely crazy, too, at the same time.
I won because I was inactive most of the time.
Just sat there and folded. And look at this.
John raising to 250,000 with his ace-5 offsuit. Jake all in.
Here we go.
Here it is, Jake. Just let the game come to you, man.
He's been waiting for those kings. And now poker being the odd game that it will be, this is where John like rivers an ace and just breaks everyone's heart. All right, ace-5 versus pocket kings. Jake Blotsky's tournament life on the line. And then even the look on John's face is, oh, I feel dirty if I hit an ace here, but let's see what happens. Here comes the flop. Flop is deuce, 9, ace. And now only a king will save Jake on the river.
It's an ace of hearts, insult to injury from John Harms, but wow, what a performance from Jake. Avoided 3 lower payouts to now earn $1,355, eliminated in 6th place.
How about that? Well, congratulations, Jake Blotsky from Fargo. Much respect, young man. I mean, that's when you come into the short stack, like that's all you can really hope for. Like, I just don't want to go out first. I want to try to get more money than the min cash at the final table, and he did way more than that. So now we update it to whoever goes out in 5th place tonight will leave with $1,700. First place prize money, $7,640. Howie watching on the Facebook live stream says, is Stapes as funny in real life, or does he turn it up for the camera? If you don't know who Stapes is, Stapes was my host for years on Poker Night in America. Joe Stapleton, stand-up comic and actor, lives in L.A. and does a ton of work with Poker Stars and World Series of Poker. And yeah, Stapes is as funny in person as he is on camera.
And I am not Stapes.
No, you are not Stapes.
So
that's on Poker Night in America, and Stapes left us a couple of years ago. For bigger, better deals with to go do more events with Poker Stars that he couldn't commit, because Poker Night in America actually, it's filmed all over the country when we're filming events, which we haven't done for quite some time.
Yeah,
you might guess why, but all the post production is all done in Fargo. So it's a nationally televised show that's on CBS Sports Network, and also has a very big YouTube and Twitch following. But it is all of the editing and post-production is all done in Fargo, and so his schedule just got harder and harder for him to make it to Fargo to come to commentary with me.
I've watched a few of the videos of Poker Night in America to try to get schooled up on how to be the best commentator possible.
I don't listen to anything I was saying.
So I'll go and look at the World Series of Poker maybe.
That's probably better. Lon and Norm do a much better job. Jeremy Schultz is going to show his kings. Pretty easy takedown of the pot there, but thank you, Howie, for the question. We appreciate it. Also checking in Nathan Kiefert. Nathan is a regular around the Fargo poker scene for years and years. We also might mention that I see here that John Harms is now watching the stream.
He does know
15 minutes
here.
later what has transpired. Now, sometimes tournaments will say that there isn't you can't do that, and he doesn't appear to have it actively watching, so he might have just checked in to see that the stream is watching and has already ducked back out. But
that's most likely what happened. I guess we don't have like a hard rule on it, but if we notice it kind of because there is the delay, there isn't too much conflict of interest for being able to have your phone there, because there's nothing that can happen 15 minutes ago that you can now predict the future.
Yeah, the only thing would be is that if you were picking up a read on somebody or a tell, or you were wondering what somebody had in a hand against you or something of that nature. But as we said, his phone doesn't appear to be out at the table watching, and so I think we're going to give John a pass. He just wanted to check out the live stream. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with ace-king suited. He raises to $250,000. And now over to Jeremy on the button with queen-9 of clubs. calls. And now let's see if Ashley in the big blind will also make the call. Tempting.
And she does. 2 live cards. Very live cards.
Yeah, it was 150,000 more to get involved in a 900,000 chip pot, so you're getting priced in there. Flop is Jack 4-10. So she makes a pair of 4s on the flop, but Jeremy Schultz also has an open-ended straight draw.
John with the gut shot. This is a very live board.
Yep. John is going to continue the betting. He was the initial better pre-flop, and he is betting again. He bets 300,000. And now over to Jeremy.
Jeremy sees his open-ender and
again,
try to gamble on that.
760,000 chips at the beginning of this hand. So he's even less than that. So this is about half of his stack that's going in the middle.
Does make the call, though.
And now over to Ashley. Even though right now she's the only one with the made hand at the time being.
I can't see her sticking around, though. Her only move would be to raise, and to raise big. But
yeah, she's going to fold. So 10 outs for Jeremy. The turn is a 5 of hearts. And let's see what John does now. He is not going to let him get there for free, whatever he has. And John puts all the chips in. So Jeremy's going to have to call off his last 460,000 chips if he wants to see that river. Now you do have one overcard to the board. You don't have any other draws than that, obviously. So you still just have those 10 outs. Obviously his 9 would be a winner too. But as far as overcards to the board, just 1. So if you're putting John on ace jack or ace 10 or something like that. You know, if you're Jeremy, you're so deep. You are so deep into this hand right now. You've got yourself. I don't want to say you're pot committed, but he got real deep.
Wow, John takes a massive pot from him.
And just like that, John Harms is now up to 4.4 million in chips, and he will take back the chip lead. Saying hey to Justin, watching the live stream on Facebook. We were right. Speedway was at the end of May, so yeah, the beginning of the summer.
Okay.
When we were over there in West Fargo. The last time you and I were in close proximities.
Always a pleasure to share a commentary booth with you, though.
I like the opportunity. It's I don't have the Poker Night in America. We haven't had any new content. Obviously, in the past 2 years, our last season was a put together of obviously we play. On Poker Night in America, we film cash games and film hours worth of cash games. And so we've got so much content that's just in the vault.
Yeah.
And so this last season, we took out some of that stuff that we had in the vault to make a brand new, I believe it was 20-episode season.
Of like best hands. And
exactly. Yeah.
Best aces cracked.
Yep. Best
scenarios.
suckouts, biggest meltdowns, things like that. And so
I love a good meltdown.
He has a lot of chips.
One of the most classic. It's funny that it happened at our very first event in upstate New York at Turning Stone Casino. Mike the Mouth Matisow absolutely went after Sean Deeb. Sean Deeb was slow rolling him, and Sean Deeb somehow, without Mike noticing it, told everybody at the table what he was doing. And I believe he flopped quad 5s.
Oh, my God.
Is what had happened. And he was telling everybody that he was slow rolling, like while the hand is going. We're not even talking about like at the end of the hand, while the hand is still in progress. And Matisow just goes nuts. And it was hard to believe that was at our very first event all those, 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's still probably the most talked about hand in the history of Poker Night in America. You can find it on YouTube. It's pretty funny to... not funny, but, anytime someone threatens to punch somebody in the face, it makes for good TV. Not real life, but nonetheless.
That's an incredible situation and story. And you definitely understand it coming from Mike the Mouth.
And I believe his comment was something like, "You can make fun of me, you can say whatever you want about me, but if you roll me again, I'm going to punch you in the face." and how Sean was making eye contact with everybody around the table, and everybody exploded into laughter when finally Sean showed his. I think it was quad fives if I remember right. And the whole table explodes because they were all in on the joke.
If you get threatened by Mike the Mouth like that, and he calls you out on something you're doing to him currently, are you going to do it again?
Oh, I'm sure if he had the opportunity, he would have gladly have done it. Sean Deeb is, and it's one of those things. It's the unwritten rules, kind of like in baseball, that you shouldn't do it. But Sean Deeb is kind of that's kind of become, and Sean's a frickin' really good poker player, obviously, and a heck of a nice guy. But when it went down, that was, who knew that very first episode or very first event that we had would have a hand that still kind of lives on.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, Jeremy Schultz here, all in for 610,000, 6-3 offsuit, but not going to get anyone to bite. He's going to show it.
Saying, hey, I just want those blinds and antes. With blinds and antes being at 40 and 80K, it's well worth it. You have 200,000 in the middle. And if you can pull off a bluff, scoop up the blinds and antes, that's 200,000 in your stack.
Short stack, though, right?
Yeah.
Should be the short stack.
Yep, I believe you're right. And so he's the kind of short stack that still has chips, right? Like, if you're the short stack and you only have 300,000, you're not scaring people away when the blinds are 40 and 80.
Not at all. But here we are. See, our blinds are right now at 50 and 100.
All right, blinds have
went
gone
up
up.
again.
Okay, blinds have just gone up. Or have the last couple of hands here. Well, I was talking about. Sorry, I wasted a bunch of time talking about the Poker Night in America. But anyway. Shout out to April Baumgarten, also cheering for Ashley tonight. Let's go, Ashley. Actions folded around to our
Hey, Tim.
chip leader on the button folds over to Brad. He calls in the small blind for another 50K. Over to Jeremy. He will check the option. And the flop is King Ace 7.
I pass.
All cards that are over what the two players are holding, so a likelihood of a chop if they get to that point, but it looks like Brad wants to represent that he's got something, and he makes Jeremy fold. I also give some behind baseball here tonight is that we're sitting in like a back room. It's about 30 or 40 feet away, closed room, where we can see what's going on, see all the hole cards and everything. And I got asked about it tonight, that we, back in the day, way back in the day on Heartland Poker Tour, we filmed an event in Deadwood, South Dakota at the Lucky Nugget Card Hall. And I don't even know, I'm pretty sure the Lucky Nugget is no longer in existence. But at that time, the only really room we could find to broadcast in, where we could be secluded, was the men's room.
Oh, no way.
So we set up myself and Fred Bevel, and who was my co-host at the time, Fred and I, and then our executive producer and one of the owners of Heartland Poker Tour at the time, Greg Lang. The three of us were back in the peak room, and we were literally in the men's room. And, we were doing final tables that were lasting 5-6 hours, and so they brought out food. And so there's a famous picture of Fred and I, chowing on cheeseburgers.
With urinals in the
background. And you see the urinals right behind our shoulder. Oh, yeah. Yeah, epic times.
They closed that bathroom off, right? It wasn't
it was not being used. We were in there buyers, but back we would be in there, and the gaming regulations wouldn't allow us to leave.
Yeah, I believe that.
While the play was being played, so actually for that reason it was actually kind of nice because the bathroom was right there.
You didn't have to run. Commentate and relieve.
Yep. Those are some wild times back in the day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can't say I've been stuck in a bathroom for commentary yet. But, all these bars that we're going to aren't really set up for they're great poker venues, but when you add in the commentary and all the production, generally we find ourselves in little closets.
Got to get creative, baby.
Or if we don't have the luxury of a closet or a separate room, we will be doing commentary live on the tables, but you just don't get the
Speculation of hands.
yeah, we can't really talk about the hands.
You're a dick anyway, so what?
Kiss your dicks.
All right, so John Harms makes it 275 with 4s over to Jeremy. And Jeremy is all in with ace-king suited. Now, Jeremy's all in for 800.
We do get a call.
60,000, and we do get a quick call from John. And so the classic race, pocket pair versus ace-king. John Harms looking to continue pounding at this table, and yeah, look at that, ace-king comes up. So now it's down to 2 outs. John needs a 4 to eliminate another player.
In between. Somewhere between.
That's not a 4.
Nope. And let's see if Jeremy doubles up. The river is another king. And so Jeremy's full house is going to double him up. He now has 1.1 million in chips. I think John is still the chip leader, but he's pretty close. He and Ashley are pretty close. Yeah, well, 4.1 to 2.5 million. I thought it was closer than that, but with that, John Harms still is about 4 million in chips.
He doesn't have to worry about it. Now, if he doubles anyone else up, now not only have you been chunked for, it's going to be half or just under half of your chip stack, but now you have another player in a really good contention for being the chip leader and being able to throw their weight around, just like John has been able to with that monster chip stack. So he's got to be careful, and we've seen it a number of times. Gosh, I feel like it was Cody Slusher who started from the bottom. I think it was this tournament last time we did it. Cody was on a roller coaster of being short stacked, and then hops into first, and then ends up busting out not long after. But that's just the craziness of poker and the ebbs and flows. So we'll see if John can hold on and maintain this chip lead.
Next person eliminated walks with 1,700. Winner tonight, 7,640. The rest of the pay looks like this. Up top is 7,640, then down to 5,000 for second, 3,250 for third, 2,375 for fourth. And again, next person leaves, goes home with $1,700. Thank you very much, Marilyn, for watching tonight, saying great run, Jake. And Howie, once again, imagine people knocking your play after making it to the final table, face palm emoji. Well, that's what we're here to do. So, you know, Howie, it's okay. It's all right.
Hey, just all I can say is make the final table, and I guess I'll knock you a little bit too. Gotta have fun back here.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not a great poker player.
Neither
I
am
don't
I.
see why people do certain calls or plays. That's why you're here, to shed some light, at least some light on the situation.
If I could play half as good as what I think I am calling when I can see everyone's cards. If I could play half of that, that'd be great. But anyway, back to it. Jeremy Schultz, ace queen offsuit. All right, John's going to call with 8-6 of clubs, and Brad finds himself with pocket 4s. He's going to call. So 3 players will see the flop together. Suited gap connectors, pocket pair, and 2 big drawing cards. Flop is Jack, 7, deuce, all spades. The only spade one of these players' hands belongs to Brad. And Brad's pocket 4s are ahead right now. Everyone checks the flop. And here comes the turn. Turns a 6.
And now John finds himself in a good position.
Those hand warmers?
So after everyone seems scared of the flop, John's going to try to take advantage of that and bet 275,000. Relatively small bet, about a quarter of the pot.
This could be an opportunity. A play that I see is just because everyone checked, this might be an opportunity for Brad or Jeremy to come over the top of John pretty strong and now rep the flush.
Right. And not want us to have any more cards come out. And that's what would make it look like that, right?
Right.
And now over to Jeremy with ace, queen, no spade. This will not be a call. Jeremy had just doubled up. He's got 1.7 million in chips, and he will fold. And our chip leader is going to pick up another 500,000 in chips and move closer to 5 million chips in front of him.
And once again, we'd like to thank the 85 people that are watching on YouTube and Facebook combined. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell on YouTube to be alerted of all future DPT events. Share it with friends. But yeah, thank you again for your support of the Dakota Poker Tour and for tuning in and cheering on your favorite players. It'll be interesting to see who are I guess players that make it on the scene a little bit more. You know, last year you had a bunch of Cody Slushers and Brandon Dosh and your mainstay players, but we had a handful of, I guess, new players, for me at least, that would consistently make the final table. So it'll be interesting to see, I guess, who's improved from last year and starts making a little bit more of a presence on our feature tables here.
Well, Ashley Hefdahl is definitely in that discussion here early on in this season 11 because she is correct. 2 out of 3 events has made final table, and so that's a great way to get started. Again, as we had spoke earlier, that the calendar is going to be changing here in just a couple of weeks, but that is that's just the beginning.
Yes.
Because, right? So it's kind of like the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour actually starts its year over in October with a wraparound schedule.
Yeah.
But it ends then the following year, so it's kind of the same philosophy that we get started with these events for each season the year before they come to a finale. Back to it. Ashley is
250,000 is the raise.
Doesn't look like Ashley's going to get any callers here. Everyone will fold.
And I suppose on that topic of events for Season XI, as we said earlier, the Monster Stack in Grand Forks in January, and then we have the Dead Money Open on Saturday, February 12th, a one-day event at the M&J Saloon in Fargo. Then a return to Dickinson for Fat Stacks at Fat Fish Brewery on Sunday, February 20th, a one-day tournament. So looking forward to coming back to these regular venues and seeing some familiar faces out west, up north in Grand Forks. And, hey, we hope to see you guys out there as well. Make the trip out there.
All right, action back to our chip leader now, John Harms, 4.9 million in front of him. And he's got ace 8. Blinds again are 50 and 100,000. Big blind also putting in a 100,000 chip ante. So every hand gets started at 250,000, a quarter mil, before anyone does anything. John makes it 250,000 and no action so far. We're now up to the blinds. This is Dwayne Anderson. Dwayne And Anderson from Bemidji will fold, and Ashley will fold too. And that will now put John up over $5 million in chips. Started this final table as our chip leader, $2.7 million. So working his way up to doubling that up.
So that's what you want to see out of the chip leader,
Yeah,
if you are.
Everything just continuing to go as planned. Next player that's eliminated has $1,700 coming their way. Championship money tonight is $7,640.
Probably better than we got 6 a.m.
Raise from Brad.
260,000.
Suited ace for Ashley in the small blind. She folds. Now over to our chip leader, Queen Deuce.
Will John defend his big blind? Oh, actually, action is still on Ashley.
Oh, I thought she had. Okay, so she calls with ace-3 suited. Sorry, we missed that one. Our bad. So our heads up with Ashley and Brad. 720,000 chips in the pot. And the flop is all clubs,
gosh.
king high. The nut flush flop for Ashley. She checks. And
Slow it down.
Oh boy, this is.
Take your time, Ashley.
Oh,
This is a trap.
oh, it's so tasty. It is so tasty. 300,000 the bet. Take your time. 300,000 is the bet.
I think you just flat here.
Now here, I don't know about you, but I probably more more than him. In the hemming and the hawing, I always like to put a little extra haw on it.
She goes all in. She
Oh,
didn't
wow.
hem nor ha.
Wow.
I mean, a $300,000 bet is pretty significant at this stage in the game. So,
He calls.
wow, he calls.
And he is nearly drawing dead.
What on two more kings?
He needs.
Oh, kings and a 9 or
Yeah.
nines. Okay, or pair the board.
He needs a lot of help. He doesn't get it on the turn. Another club comes out, and that's going to do it. The Brad Pausch has been
Wow.
eliminated. So it worked out. I didn't think she was going to go all in. She did. She got what she was looking for one way or another. He did call. And so Ashley Halfdahl wins a massive pot.
Wow, congratulations, Ashley, setting herself up for some really good success here at the Poker Brat Deep Stack. Brad Pausch, congratulations and well played tournament. Thank you for your longtime support of the Dakota Poker Tour, and we definitely hope to see you and expect to see you at many future events.
Then we can skip right through.
See, we're all nice.
Thank you. I
All right.
It sounds like we're going to take a quick break. So maybe 10 minutes. We're going to take a small break as well. You don't need to listen to our voices for 10 minutes straight. So we will see potentially the conclusion of our Poker Brat Deep Stack when we return after this 10-minute break. And welcome back to final table action at the Poker Brat Deep Stack Poker Tournament of the Dakota Poker Tours Season XI. My name is Brian, and we're joined here once again with Chris Hansen of Poker Night in America.
And we're four-handed. The next person who goes home tonight goes home with $2,375, $2,375. Champion tonight is 7640, and blinds are, what did I hear, 6120?
Yep, 6120.
And the big blind also puts in a 120. Annie.
See Jeremy here in a much needed position to have a strong hand with pocket kings.
John did hit his jack on the flop, so he's got middle pair. 150 is the bet from Jeremy.
Jeremy doesn't need to be scared of any flush draws, though, as the board is a rainbow.
5 on the turn. John Harms has been the chip leader for a majority of this final table. Ashley Hefdahl did take the chip lead for a short period of time. John got it back soon after she had the lead, and so now we go check from John Harms on the river. I'll try to take a trip to Value Town here for Jeremy Schultz. 1.1 million in front of you, 600,000 in the pot. You should bet, 350, 400.
And he looks like 300 was the bet.
And a call from John. And John bought some real estate. And
Yeah, great hand
that?
for Jeremy. Good price.
Value Town. He likes nice house, 2-bedroom. Small, but, effective for Value Town.
1.5 baths.
Mm-hmm.
Full value would be that second full bathroom.
So that's going to bring John Harms back down to 4.4 million, and Jeremy now with that $500,000 chip improvement gets himself up to 2 million in chips.
And here we see, once again, our chip counts, just so you can refresh your memory after the break. Dwayne Anderson with under $1 million, only player under that $1 million chip mark. Then Jeremy, Ashley, and then John. So John and Ashley sitting comfortably. Dwayne definitely has to start making moves. And Jeremy is comfortable for a little bit with 20 big blinds. But coming down to 4 players left, we're going to almost hit that mark where it's time to go all in, or you just don't play the hand.
So we got a call and a check from the blinds. Again, the blinds are worth 300,000. If you get a call from that small blind, you pop it up to worth 300,000. So flop is Queen 6 King, and Jeremy bets 125, and then Dwayne quickly ships it all in for 770. And Jeremy again in the proverbial cookie jar. Has to fold. Winner tonight, $7,640 is the champion share. $5,000 for second, $32.50 for third, and $23.75 for fourth place. The next player who leaves this final table here at the Windbreak in Fargo.
Attention players. This level will end in 1 minute.
So now you're getting to these pretty serious payouts here with over $2,000 for fourth place. Again, most of these players in for $200 or $300. So you start talking about third place. You're 10 timesing your investment, turning $300 into $3,000. It's pretty awesome, obviously. So things are a little more loosey goosey at the you see at the start of a final table. Everyone seems to be oh, we made it, we're so excited. But when you get to these points. You don't see a lot of emotion. You don't see a lot of the camaraderie and chit chatty at a situation like this, because there's some serious money that's on the line.
It's the difference between a new LG touchscreen fridge and a mini vacation to Minneapolis.
And the big blind is 120,000. And the ante is 120,000.
So I think after this hand, or blinds are up now, going to be 60, 120 with a big blind ante of 120,000. Really getting expensive to play now. We're also in that point of the tournament with four-handed that it's too much to ask almost to play premium hands only. Your range has to open up a little bit more if you want to see some chips coming your way, or just see a move in general. And if people see that you're only playing absolutely premium hands, it's going to be pretty easy to fold when you start playing. So that's kind of where we're at. I guess the hands, you could say, are getting looser on what you would play, because that's just going to take too long to wait for those premium hands, aces, kings, ace, king.
Yeah, there's just going to be too many opportunities too, that especially when you're on the button or you're late in the action, to have a chance to scoop up the blinds. As we said, there's 300,000. There's over $250,000 in every pot before anything even happens. So you want to try to take advantage of that, and maybe take advantage of people who are going to be a little bit more timid.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take advantage of that too. And so if you start picking up on that, and maybe you're at the position right now that if you if you're Jeremy or Dwayne down here on the end, that you don't have the stacks that Ashley and John do, and so you want to say, you know what, it's go time.
Yeah.
Either I'm going to go down on a ball of flames, or I'm going to maybe try to take this thing down.
It's a really expensive ball of flame.
Sure.
$2,375 worth, to be exact.
And look at that. Old friend Brett Kuznia is watching the live stream. Shout out to Brent. Know him from back in the old Heartland Poker Tour days. I don't know if he still lives up in northern Minnesota or not, but shout out to him. Brent, it's good to see you watching tonight. All right, in this hand we got Jeremy and Ashley all tied up with 8-10 and ace-7. A couple of flops or a couple of clubs on that flop for Ashley. And it looks like she's going to be betting them. She bets 360,000. Back over to Jeremy.
Jeremy's sitting in the think tank for a while. Oh my.
He's moved all in.
Oh my gosh. Wow, Jeremy trying to
make a move.
Yeah.
As I said, sometimes you got to think, you know what, either I'm going to go down a ball of flames, or I'm going to double up and make a run at this.
need 10s or 8s. Oh my god, that heart does that help a lot.
Yeah, that does. That picks him up the flush draw. Now 13 outs for Jeremy Schultz to stay alive. And the river is a jack.
And
And-
Ashley. Oh, my God. She's in chip lead now.
Yep. She is now taking over that chip lead, and it's going to be a fourth place finish. 23-75 for Jeremy Schultz from Fargo. Jeremy, one of the shorter stacks sitting down, so I'm guessing he's probably going to be pleased. He started with just 785,000 in chips, and he watched, 4 players go out in front of him, or 5 players, go out in front of him, and leaves now with 23-75 for fourth place. So, you come in third to the least amount of chips to start the final table. I'd say it's mission accomplished. You obviously you want to win the whole thing, but some early exits, maybe you sat back and let the game come to you again. You got a crucial double up when he needed it about half an hour, 45 minutes ago, and there we go.
Yeah, Jeremy decided to pull a Blotsky and just sit back and let other people go out, and your pay just goes up and up and up. So, again, congratulations on that over $2,000 win. And next place, $3,250. Is it going to be John, Dwayne, or Ashley taking that home? We'll just have to find out.
He plays some janky stuff. I don't think I've ever really played with him before, so I didn't know how to read him before.
John will fold.
Yeah, good choice. Not being in the in the blinds, it was a free hand for him. He doesn't need to play a middle of the road hand, because most likely Dwayne and Ashley are going to fight for their blinds.
Dwayne now up against the chip leader, and he's got ace-king suited. Time to bring it up.
Raised is 320,000. Oh, this could be trouble for Ashley if she thinks her ace-10 is a good, and she's all in.
And a call.
Oh, of course.
Here we go.
Wait, do I get a one-time dealer?
I gave you a one-time earlier.
Ashley calling for a one-time.
Can I use my
despite-
one? This would be a great time to use it if you had one in the tank.
Despite her being the massive chip lead, this really won't chunk her for that much. A sixth of her stack.
Here we go. Flop is 4-10.
Oh my
Are you kidding?
God.
Well, she used the one time, and it looks like she has used it effectively.
We'll see. There's a 5% chance.
You put
Dwayne
another
wins.
diamond out there, things get crazy. And there it is.
Oh, my.
Oh, boy, we're not out yet. 7 outs left for Dwayne Anderson.
Dwayne-
he needs that diamond.
Did Dwayne use his one time in the tank?
Good playing with you, Dwayne.
He does not. Doesn't get it on the river, and that's going
No.
to do it. And quickly, another player eliminated. Dwayne Anderson is going to be leaving in third place. Dwayne from Bemidji, Minnesota, cashes for $32.50 here at the Poker Brat Deep Stack. They're falling quickly now, Brian.
And then there were 2. Ashley Halfdahl, Jake Harms. Incredible. North Dakota versus Nebraska. And it looks like we're just going to do a quick camera adjustment.
We lose the.
Not sure. It doesn't look like we're going to take a small break at all. So I think we're fine.
No, it fall right in the right spot.
What do you mean?
There's a small blind, there's a big blind,
Yeah.
and you can do here.
Ashley's chip stack seems to dwarf John's. She's up over 6 million now.
Yeah. This is how it should be.
Yeah, buttons always small.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it would have been a dent.
Oh, yeah.
The button here.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't affect me.
Dana,
Yes.
how's the clock? They're doing a little adjustment.
So we get it set up here. First place tonight is $7,640. Second place, $5,000.
I'm going to keep one stack of these.
Just keep one. And then I have 2 stacks of video.
All right, so here we go. Heads Up Poker has begun. And Ashley Hefdahl is our chip leader as we go to Heads Up, and she gets started now with 6.6 million in chips. And she's got King Queen, and she raises to 360 over to John Harms with 8-4, and he will fold.
Had a weird feeling this was gonna
Can
be.
I have 2 120?
There's no anything.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sure that's what it said.
So my time with the Dakota Poker Tour started at late 2019.
Dana, is there an answer or
If
no?
Ashley
There's not an answer.
wins tonight
Okay.
in the modern era, we'll say, of DPT,
Down there, I had to put-
and since I've been around, I think she'll be the first. She would be the first female to win
All
an
right.
event.
Table when we got here.
Of course, what happened before that, I don't know.
Hey, I think it.
Yep.
Here's what happened. So during the break, somebody had said it's kind of cool in here, right? So they said it's kind of cool in here. Can you turn the heat on? Somebody from the Windbreak thought that they turned the heat on, but they actually turned the AC on,
Ah, yes.
and it was blasting
Oh,
cold air. Well, then, so Ashley had her stocking hat on and her coat, and everyone's like, it's freezing in here all of a sudden. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I turned on the air conditioning. So they turned the heat back on. Now I think we might have gone back the other direction. She's taken the stocking hat off, and look what's happening.
and her cards are heating up.
Exactly.
She's heating up like
they
crazy.
turned the heat on in the HVAC system, and her cards have followed. It's too good to be a coincidence. All right, so we got a raise from John to 250,000. Got a call from Ashley. It's King 5 versus Ace 8-3.
So if you ever find yourself in a home game with Ashley, open the windows.
Keep it cold.
Yeah. She doesn't stand a chance. John pairing his king on the flop.
He bets and she folds.
Yeah, so I guess this is going to be a pretty interesting heads up. Just 2 players that I have never seen go heads up before. So a lot of times the players can be very timid, or they just come out firing, all in, all in. But we'll see what happens. John proved himself to be a very worthy opponent, and the same thing with Ashley. John's been around for a long time. You know him.
Yeah, and I was saying as we got started tonight that I actually played a lot online of some PokerStars home games, probably back early in 2020 in the pandemic that, a lot of us did was try to find something to do, and he got involved in a home game league that we had, and so I couldn't when I walked in today. I'm like, are you kidding me? What are you doing here? And came up to play this event, and look at that now from Nebraska makes his way from Columbus, Nebraska, makes his way to the final table, and now makes his way heads up here. So it's kind of funny how things like that work out.
Yeah, I don't think John checked the forecast coming into the weekend. Otherwise, we would not have seen him if he knew he would be stranded up here for the evening. Because all of 29 is closed down from South Dakota to Canada.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's gotten worse out there.
Worse? How could it get any worse?
Well, Ashley finds herself flopping a flush draw. John pairing his 9, though. Basically still a coin flip.
This is the kind of hand where you can see a lot of chips get in the middle very quickly. 280,000 the bet from Ashley with her nut flush draw.
This represent my betting Randy.
Now 380,000 to call. And it looks like John did make the call.
Can I bet 380?
So he's ahead with a pair of 9s.
Okay, my bad.
Ashley's got a pair of 8s and the flush draw, obviously. And the turn is a king of clubs. So John's still in the lead.
It's a blank for the player's hands, but on that board, not knowing each other's hands, king is a very worrisome card.
And here goes Ashley betting that draw, betting her hand.
Especially knowing both you, if you're John or Ashley, you have the bottom 2 pairs, or bottom pair, middle pair, with the 2 overs on the board.
The bet's 560,000. And John just Not going anywhere. He makes the call. So let's see. It's been interesting that John has been check calling, that he check called the flop, now check called the turn. That makes it look like you are on the one on the draw. Usually when you're check calling. And the river, oh, look at this. The river's a spade.
Oh, John goes all in immediately, and Ashley calls. John will be eliminated. Ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna conclude. What a
Wow.
holy hand. You said it right. This is the type of hand that puts a lot of chips in the middle.
Oh, I need that.
If I have,
And that's going to do it.
Wow.
They're going to count out the chips just to make sure. But according to our numbers, that's it. And John Harms is going to be eliminated in second place.
And your
And
2021
how about that?
DPT Season XI Poker Brat Deep Stack Champion, Ashley Halfdahl. Congratulations. Wow, incredible tournament. John taking home $5K, Ashley with the grand prize, $7,640.
Nothing worse than trying to represent the hand that somebody else has. He was trying to rep that he had the big flush, trying to scare her away, but she was the one who actually had the nut flush draw, and easy call for her. I mean, it's John's just making that play because I said check call the flop, check call the turn. Oh my gosh, I hit it. I'm going to jam. Well,
Yeah, nope.
Unfortunately, she was the one that was on the draw, and she was betting that draw, and worked out well for her. So thanks to everybody who came out today. Congrats to everybody from our final table. And
I think we will have a little post. We're going to take a small break.
Okay.
We're going to have an interview with the winner, Ashley Halfdahl, and we're going to see you guys all very shortly. We're just going to get set up for that interview.
give us a couple of minutes, you bet.